let's quickly touch base with Jay in Utah, and then we'll have just a little more time to wrap up the interview. Yeah?
Sounds great. Let's do
Perfect. All right. Jay, talk to us a little bit about bodily autonomy. What's on your mind?
Hey, well, first off, this whole episode, call, what have you, it's been so great listening to both of you. And Drew, you've been amazing to hear your thoughts as well. I think there were like a few things that a few callers touched on that really resonated with me. The last caller's thoughts about, like, I don't know if this is the correct term, but like the generational trauma that can exist in regards to like what's considered socially and religiously acceptable in terms of like sexuality across all spectrums. It's so hard to get out of your mind as like you're just trying to live your life post deconversion. So I just wanted to validate that as well, because I can definitely relate to that. I really wanted to talk about I guess bodily autonomy in, I guess, maybe a sexual aspect, but also maybe like a mental health, and how that also relates to like as deconversion is occurring, because I didn't even realize until after I deconverted how like not being able to own, you know, my actions as solely my own, and not having to relate to anyone or please anyone, even held me back from like seeking mental health help and therapy, because even like opening up that little bit would the whole roof would crumble in, if that makes any sense. So I think recognizing that was really, really important for me in terms of deconversion. And then I guess on the other side of it was how bodily autonomy relates to like sexual health and access to health resources. I work in public health, and in Utah, there's a lot of stigmatization about what is considered acceptable in terms of like the mainstream religion here, and seeing how that kind of plays out in terms of what resources are available and what's considered acceptable in terms of access. That Utah has trigger laws that will take into effect if/when Roe is overturned. And I think recognizing how religion, trickles into politics, and those of us that have deconverted, like having to grapple with that, that dichotomy in our brains. That's kind of a ramble, sorry, but I just love to hear your thoughts on how it all intersects.
Well, I was definitely going to say for myself that bodily autonomy was definitely one of the more challenging concepts from these, crazy humanistic heathens that I found myself living among after deconverting. And I'd be really curious, what were the threads that helped that whole idea come together, or maybe help to unravel the notion that your body doesn't belong to you?
Oh, me or Drew? I didn't know who.
I think Jay, right? You're asking Jay?
Yeah, if I may.
Oh, sure. Oh my gosh, it's so tricky. I think number one, which I'm sure a lot of people who've like had to deconvert, a big thing was moving out, or like having the ability to like move out and have space that was mine. And with that comes, financial autonomy, space to breathe in, to move in, to access, resources that you need, that you shouldn't have to feel ashamed about. And, whether it's something as easy as like having condoms nearby, or, using, this wasn't my case, but I have friends who this was the case for, like using tampons, really small things that I think play like and have such a big impact on how people navigate, their space while in religion and after religion. I think I was really fortunate to go to a school that wasn't religious, or like in high school. And I think seeing friends whose families weren't religious and who didn't have those same morals or values tied to, you know, bodily autonomy and health choices and, you know, the religion and politics tied together really helped me to see like, oh, I don't have to like think like my parents do. I don't have to, you know, do these same things that, you know, my parents, my grandparents, my extended family do. I can do my own thing.
Absolutely. You know, and I think it can be helpful to look for ways where you can try to, and it's oftentimes it's so much easier said than done, right? Like all of this, right?
Sure.
But looking at how can I surround myself with voices that affirm my personal autonomy, my bodily autonomy. And maybe it's simply, maybe it's, of course, if you have individuals in your community, or you're able to build a community with individuals who can be that live and in person, you know, let's go get a drink and I want to hear them pour into me, you know, and validate my autonomy. But sometimes it's also, you know, that's especially easier said than done when you look around. You don't see a lot of other humans around you who embrace that framework. But, you know, where can I look online? Are there Facebook groups that can just be voices in my ear, as it were, validating that? Because the more I surround myself or read books or whatever that validates my autonomy, the more it's maybe, again, I'm not the therapist, but maybe that then becomes easier for me to actually start to believe it. And to explore it a little bit more because I'm receiving that validation rather than all these negative voices that are constantly telling me I don't have any right to autonomy. Is that helpful? Or thank you so much for sharing your story. Really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I just loved what you all had to say about all the calls and just happy to contribute.
It's great to hear from you, Jay.
Yeah, well, you have a great night, and thank you for raising a lot of this. Was there anything else that felt important or that felt left out? I know this is kind of a big idea.
I think what Drew said about like finding, and the previous caller said about finding your community and giving yourself the space and the permission to do that. Just so important, whether that's, you know, moving to a different place, moving to a different state, you know, whatever you need to do to find that for yourself. So important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, we'll leave it there, but thank you so much. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks again, Jay. Great hearing from you.
Yeah, I don't know that there is ever a simple litmus test for these kinds of things, but I know that when somebody expressed to me the idea of cui bono, like who benefits, and then of who are you hurting, like is there non-malfeasance involved? I know that can be a little bit oversimplified, but if we really can ask the question of, are my actions going to hurt anybody else? Are they going to benefit anybody? And then maybe what would happen if everybody did this? If we can keep those three ideas in mind, I think it can help us to feel a lot more permission to be ourselves and to do what we need to do, whatever that might look like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy work.
Sure.
But right.
And that's something to normalize too, right? If you're still struggling with this, it's because you're doing your damn job. It's meant to be struggled with.